Hi, this is Joseph.
This is David, and welcome to The Definition.
A podcast where we take a topic and explore various perspectives.
Because not everything is black and white.
Exploring the depths beyond the definition, hearing opinions from the street, as well as offer our own 2 cents. Ultimately, our goal is to spark your intrigue.
But rest assured, it's always going to be real, relatable, and relaxed. You can also expect us to spice up each episode with a hint of our personal experiences.
Let's get started.
I'm happy with that.
We're back, everybody. Back with a bang. Today we're going to talk about a topic which is very topical. A topical topic.
Yes.
We've seen a lot going on in terms of documentaries and interviews and characters around which kind of give us quite a one-sided perspective on what masculinity is about.
Yeah.
And we're here to talk about masculinity today. Obviously, both of us are male. Maybe we should have interviewed a female for this for a little bit more context. But this is a male opinion. We're both middle-aged men.
Absolutely.
We're both fathers of daughters. We're both husbands to wives.
Wives, yeah.
And maybe you're going to watch this and think, well, that's two blokes' opinion. Yeah. And it's okay. That's what it is.
And that's the essence of the definition, right? It's not all black and white. And I think it's a pertinent topic if you look at the influence of the media today, what is out there in the news, both geopolitical, in the movies, in the documentaries, the Oscars, the Golden Globe, and how men have portrayed themselves in modern times. So it is a pertinent topic. I think it's a topic that rings in the heart and mind of both young men, older men, and the women alike. So the right time is now for us to be having that conversation. Agree.
Yeah, you mentioned something there about Oscars, and it just brought back certain acts of violence.
Yes.
Which were, I suppose, at the time considered to be a masculine maneuver.
Absolutely.
But then, because of the society that we live in, it has massive repercussions, and people get cancelled so quick these days.
True.
So, not everything's black and white. Big topic, masculinity. Let's get started. What are your thoughts on what's not working? What's not healthy about masculinity in 2026 when you think of extreme individuals who've got big social media following? A lot of people follow them, and they're portraying what you think is an unhealthy form of masculinity.
So as you stated, we are midlife men. Our realities are different. Our background is different. Growing up as a man today is different from 50 years ago and will continue to be different in the future. I think the first thing is recognizing that there are many factors at play in today's masculine world that either were not there before or have changed in a certain form. Some of those factors are socioeconomic. Some of those factors are cultural. Some of those factors are simply the shifting goalposts of what it means to be a man today versus what it used to be a man 20, 30 years ago. And so the first thought that comes to mind is, I don't think masculinity is a straitjacket one definition. I'm quick to want to assume that it is a spectrum. It is a spectrum based on the different elements that make up our world today that we live in. I'll give you a good example. Masculinity, maybe a couple of 100 years ago, was first off the responsibility to protect. And the protection is the protection of those who are of your loins, your children, your wife, your immediate family. And that was a measure of how masculine you are. So back in my culture, back in the days, you had to go kill a lion or kill a leopard and bring the skin back to usher you into, they had ceremonies that you had to perform for you to be regarded as a full-grown man. And part of that sometimes is a hunting expedition for you to go kill a wild animal and come back home. That has changed. Today, that ceremony is being a bully on the streets, is hitting an old man on his head. It's the misaligned societal values because everyone has a 12 megapixel camera behind them.
But let me ask you, so you just compared historic African culture to modern day street culture in rough areas of Ireland, England, the West. But are you saying those historic things like going out and killing lions and stuff? Are you saying those are bad things, or were they negative things in your mind?
No, so I'm not quick to label good or bad, negative or positive. I'm quick to tag into what is the reality today.
Okay.
You know, in the reality today, being a full-grown man is defined by the things that are societally acceptable in our world today.
Right.
They might not have been acceptable back then. You couldn't go and smack an old man on the bus 50 years ago anywhere in the world, and it was not acceptable. Now people look away and be like, oh, he's just messing around. While back then, killing a wildebeest or killing a wild animal was the acceptable measure. I'm just saying that as time changed, the standard international unit of measuring masculinity is also changing.
Well, certainly it doesn't take a lot of courage to smack an old man across the head on a bus. It takes a heck of a lot more courage to kill a lion.
Yes, but and just for the record, right, I think Dave and I are on the same path that it is absolutely unacceptable.
Sure.
And that masculinity presents itself either as being a gentleman by giving up your seat to the old man, or by being a rascal thinking that you lack all responsibility and accountability for you to smack an older person. It's back to that point of what is acceptable today as being, oh, I'm a full-grown man, I can act the way I like,
And the flip side of that is I've been criticized in the past for being a gentleman.
Really?
Yes. Yeah. So you do something like open the door for someone.
Yeah.
And I don't want to say the person who gave out to me was a feminist, but she probably was a feminist.
Really?
And she gave out to me for opening the door. And so like I don't know anymore. I feel very insecure in knowing what the new parameters are of what is and isn't acceptable. Because it almost seems like we live in a time where all certainty of everything has been pulled from under us.
Yeah.
No matter what you say or no matter what you do, there'll be a cohort of people that will protest what you've just said or done. That's how I feel.
True.
2026, that's how I feel around it.
But how does that make you feel? Does that change then who you are because you got a kickback from one person about you being a gentleman? Does that change how you should act out in public?
I mean, a story comes to mind. When I was a teenager, me and a friend of mine were coming home late one night, and these two women, I use the word women loosely because they attacked us viciously. They attacked my friend viciously. And I went over and said, hey, leave him alone. So then they turned on me, right? Yeah. And then they were swinging at me.
Really?
They're swinging at me. And I'm like, I don't fight women. That made them even more angry. And they laid into me. And I ended up spraining my hand.
Really?
Because I got kicked in the hand and I refused to fight back. I mean, if I was faced with the same situation today, I probably wouldn't say I don't fight with women because I saw that aggravated them. But Joseph, in that context, should I have pushed back on the grounds that they certainly weren't behaving as ladies?
Yeah.
Would it have been okay for me to push them back, or would I get?
I feel like you're putting me on the spot here with that question, but I would say there are many other alternatives rather than to fight back.
Okay.
And I would say explore all the other alternatives. Walk away, restrain them, defend yourself, do what needs to be done. But I wouldn't say you fight back. I wouldn't say so. And again, this might also be, feminists might say, oh, why? Is it because she's a woman? You're not going to do that. I think at the end of the day, what we need to realize, I think, or what we need to question ourselves about when we talk about masculinity is, to what extent does this represent who we are, male or female?
Right.
If there was a representation, if your daughter, my daughters were watching it play out real time, how would that represent who we are, regardless of the gender or what is between our legs? Sorry to say, but I think that for me overrides everything else.
There's like a theme being stitched. Earlier on, you mentioned about, you used this phrase I never heard before about, like your family, you refer to them as something to do with loins or something.
Yes, your loins, yeah.
I never heard that before. And now you're talking about stuff between your legs.
It's the Shakespeare in me. I've been reading too many Shakespeare, but I think, but if we come back to it, right, one of the factors we talked about masculinity, is a change in social acceptance. You and I would admit, in this world we live in where everyone is going after the likes and the followership, that sometimes we throw caution to the wind of what is right or wrong, all in a bid to get the thumbs up, to get the like. And for me, it could be one of the factors in which people are thinking, oh, I don't want to look like the weak guy in the eyes of all those. There are 1,000 smartphones out open in public. What do you think about the notion that societal pressure is also a defining element in how masculine people portray themselves to be today?
Yeah, I think so. It's very, very, very good question. I think it ties into the issue of social media, full stop. Yeah. Where outside of masculinity, it's this platform where you present the fake version of yourself. You lie about your net worth. You take a photo with a private jet and post it as I'm flying private jet, and then you bail to your Ryanair flight before you lose it. and this of course feeds into masculinity as well, where I think a lot of men who want to gain following, the more radical your idea, the more hits it gets, and the more it offends, the more hits it gets. And so you're drawn towards, or one is sometimes drawn towards painting this really unsustainable, unhealthy picture of oneself.
Some have also claimed that for young men, that has also been an attraction for women. And it's this sometimes unhealthy fetish desire from feminine who are attracted to these excessively masculine men. And as much as we might not agree, some men portray this to be like a magnet factor to pull the women to them, because then gives them more status amongst other men, like being able to attract. I mean, we've seen men who are not worth a penny, who portray the most terrible behavior, but still have that magnet to pull women to them. What's it called, the syndrome where you get attracted to your abuser?
Stockholm syndrome.
Stockholm syndrome, exactly. So men who are louder, who are more boisterous, who have no decorum in them, seem to attract a certain kind of women or ladies, and sometimes it spurs them on to continue. Plus, in this world where everyone wants a piece of the limelight, it seems to be that just the normal, average dude, polite, goes about his business, those dudes have no airtime.
Right. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, so essentially what the world is being fed through modern media, which is not legacy media, is this really extreme, one could argue as a whole, quite unwholesome or unhealthy. And that's sending out a wrong
signals,
a wrong idea, a wrong concept of what masculinity is. Like we were talking off air about this as we were prepping, and I kind of said, like, to me, true masculinity is someone who's nothing to prove and can wear a pink jumper.
Pink jumper club in the house.
I'm sure you have one.
I do. I've got a pink shirt. I got a pink jumper. My missus tells me I look good in pink. No hassle, whatever.
Amazing. and so, like, because I would never think of someone walking down the street in pink and go, gosh, they're being very feminine. Or whatever equivalent. A flowery t-shirt, whatever. I like
flowery t-shirts.
I like what you said earlier, where it's a spectrum, because it's like, let's not define masculinity as one prototype.
Absolutely.
If we think of the fact that we're all completely individual. I'm different to you. I'm not supposed to be like you. You're not supposed to be like me.
Not anyway.
If I try and imitate you because I think you're a good representative of masculinity, then I'm not being true to
yourself.
Who I should be.
Yes.
And so it's a spectrum. And and there's naturally going to be men who are more alpha, if I can use that expression, ones that are less alpha. There's room for everybody. I don't think true masculinity is saying you got to pump weights 3 times a week.
No. There is the outward expectation of what masculinity looks like. It is big voice, big muscle, alpha male. But that really isn't where the power lies, Real masculinity sometimes codifies itself on the internal control. Sometimes it's the ability for that man to look away, when he's even justified to revenge or to act. But his ability to make that choice to say, on this occasion, I look away. Sometimes that's the masculinity. Sometimes the masculinity is the guy who chooses that at this time I will shed a tear in public.
Right.
You know, and it doesn't make him less of a man. It's just a man who is true to himself. But I think it's the word of, I might be wrong, it might be Bob Marley that says, the man, you have to know thyself. I think the beginning of masculinity is knowing yourself and knowing what ticks for you that does not tick for someone else. We need to be wary about how the world judges masculinity by the number of six packs you have, or the big truck you drive, or the purple pink shirt you don't wear.
Stop describing me in a nutshell, Joseph.
Well, yes.
Six pack.
Well, one pack you mean? At the end of the day, it's not that. You know,
Sure.
One of the things, unfortunately, also with the way media has been portrayed, is the one who screams the loudest, that gets the most airtime, that the algorithm likes, that people get to view more. People think it's boring to just be that nice, well-dressed, well-behaved gentleman who sometimes even the women might take you for granted, might take a joke at you. The guys might also, but if you don't know yourself, it gets to you.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. Bring me back to this like early man lion hunting or killing a lion to prove your standing in society and stuff. So what happens to the man who's not able to kill the lion? You know, is he like outcast? Is that historically non-masculinity?
So, if there is anyone who's watching and you've got spare time, there's a good literature I'd like to point you to around from my culture. It's a book, and there's a movie called Things Fall Apart by a renowned writer called Chinua Achebe. And Things Fall Apart is about a man, Okonkwo, who portrays him as coming of age into that whole manhood thing, him and his son. It reminds me of when, back in our culture, masculinity to become a man is usually as a peer group. You know, the guys who you are born in the same age bracket. And there are expectations at every milestone with those men. You should be able to hunt at a certain age. You should be able to own a farm of a certain size at a certain age. You should be able to have agricultural product like birds or pigs. You should be able to cater for yourself and a woman. And as long as you are catching up in that same expectation from your peer group, then you are ticked off as growing in masculinity.
Right.
The challenge is those who lag behind.
Right.
Those who are unable to go out and kill the wildebeest. And I don't think there's an outcast syndrome. It's just there's the general societal knowledge that, oh, this person is not man yet like his other mates. And sometimes that could be a drawback. That could lead people to leave the community, or depression that maybe those days they didn't recognize. But it was always about, are you doing it with your peers? You know, are you able to have a farm of your own at the same time that your other mates are having a farm? So the masculinity icon or symbol is about, if you are in the same group with your mates, achieving those milestones at the same, and it creates a bit of pressure to be fair. If you, in modern day, if you look back, I'm in my mid-40s, if you take a checklist and say Joseph and all his friends and his mid-40s, do they have those things that make them a man? Are they responsible for a family? Do they have an income that is able to take care of themselves and their family? Do they have a roof over their head? All of a sudden, the guy who doesn't have that is not, you're not pulling your weight. You're not man enough like the rest. And some others who want to differentiate themselves is that desperation. Oh, I've got a wife, but I've got 3 women out there also. So I'm top of my game. I'm an alpha man. You know, yeah, I got income, but I've got illegitimate income, and I can slap my wealth in your face. The things that are being used as markers of masculinity, in my opinion, are sometimes frivolous and shouldn't be how you mark a man.
I think that highlights a really interesting talking point where, in your eyes, if I'm reading you right, in your eyes, integrity feeds into what true or healthy masculinity is.
In my opinion.
Right.
And that's just my opinion. That's not the standard. You know, do you then say a man without integrity is not a masculine man, or a man with integrity has lost his rights to be called a masculine man? I don't know. I think
I think it's like if you look at it as a scale, it's kind of like you go in a certain direction and there's a cliff edge.
Yeah.
In my opinion, where it's okay. Like I was frustrated earlier on today. I was trying to fix something in the garden, and I let out a roar. Now, if I had neighbors, they would be super scared of that roar. It was a proper manly roar. You know, and I don't think that's not okay. You know, if you're frustrated to let out a roar.
Yes.
So you're kind of moving towards a scale of ramping up masculinity, right?
Yes.
And then, in my eyes, I align with you. Maybe the world or the listeners of this won't align with that, and everyone gets to define that themselves. The cliff edge where to have a family, responsibility, raising kids, all those things, I bring my masculinity to that.
Yeah.
If I go over the cliff edge and I start, as you said, illegitimately bringing in funds or females or any other Fs, then to me that's the cliff edge where things go south.
But recognize also, wouldn't you say that's your personal definition, because you have drawn the lines on the boundary of what masculinity is to you?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. But so, like, let's societally have the conversation. Let's define, what do we want males to be like?
Ooh.
Because it's like, so we said at the start, the guy slapping, some young thug slapping an old man across the head on public. It's appalling.
Yeah.
It's nobody who have any respect for society would say that behavior is great or true masculinity. We were very good at defining social parameters of this is okay, that's not okay.
Yeah.
And so if we take something like that person doing that thinks they're being smart, thinks they're being extra cool, thinks they're being extra boisterous or whatever, and yet we're judging it and going, that behavior is weak, my friend. That you think that's masculine, that's you being a coward. Because this old man can't fight back.
Yes.
Same as bullying a child. Or anything,
Absolutely.
Things that we just culturally go, he's got that all wrong. That kid
that doesn't
thinks
work.
he's being cool,
Yeah.
and it's disgusting.
But it might be egged on by other fully grown men, adults also, who are giving a thumbs up and a like, and would find the craziest reason to justify it. We going back to what we see on our TV screens, on our phones. Certain people will call certain world leaders today absolutely masculine because they take charge, they take control, the art of negotiation, they are dominant, and they would assume that, well, that's acceptable if you are getting what you need to get. But I think the challenge with defining masculinity is the question of by whose standards? Mm-hmm. By whose standards is it wrong for a man to battle for his own share of the pie? Remember, if we go back also to history, men had challenged men and have fought over territory, over women, over food. So some will say, well, part of the DNA of being a masculine man is to get what you need for yourself, no matter the means necessary.
Let me throw something out at you that I think helps to kind of define, or helps to kind of ground the conversation. When you watch kind of like war films and stuff, right? You have these scenes. I think there was one similar to it in Saving Private Ryan. Could be a different one. Doesn't really matter. There's always these moments where there's cowardly behavior in war, and then there's the no fear, or the what's the word I'm looking for, the hero
move,
the hero going forward and and we all identify with both, but we also we're quick to paint the cowardly move as non-masculine.
I mean, a sissy,
nobody goes like, nobody identifies with that and goes, oh, he's right, he should hide. And we're all drawn towards the hero.
The guy with the muscle and the tattoo,
And if you're not that, you wish you were. And if you are that, you're like, yes.
Yeah, that's me,
And so I think there is a kind of healthy perception of masculinity, which is portrayed in films, which is portrayed in life, which we naturally draw towards. And I think it's like, yes, there is being a coward, there's being a man. And that can't be lost societally, because there is place to be a man.
Yes.
You know, like, it took courage for me to ask my wife to marry me.
Yeah.
And there's people out there who are not married only because
they didn't have
the courage to ask.
do it. Yeah.
Right? So it's like, societally we need to celebrate what healthy masculinity looks like, I think.
So when the example you draw from media, I mean, I'm going to throw out names out there. It's a clear contrast between a Sylvester Stallone in Rambo and a Forrest Gump in Tom Hanks in Forrest Gump.
Yeah.
Very not looking like a masculine man versus the Rambo that looks, and everybody would lean towards the Rambo. But this world has a place for the Forrest Gumps.
Okay.
Even in masculinity, because life is a balance. There are some days.
I thought you were going to say life is a box of chocolates.
Because there are some days I just want to watch a movie and shed the tears. It doesn't make me less of a man. There are
100%.
some days I just feel like I want my daughters to just hug me and give me a peck and give me a kiss and let me feel like less of the muscle and masculinity, and it still doesn't take away.
100%. See, in my eyes, tears are like the pink jumper. It takes a man of true confidence to shed a tear, even more so to shed a tear publicly, and not feel that it's undermining his masculinity.
Yeah.
I think we've often men have grown up with a very unhealthy sense of not showing emotion.
Yeah.
I think if it's contained, you know, so not emotion where I'm angry so I lash out at you. But emotion that where I can show that without it overcoming me. I think that is strength.
Yeah.
Imagine a scene. I don't remember Rambo that clearly, but imagine a scene in Rambo where Rambo is moved to the point of tears. Everybody would be drawn even more into this stereotype of going, he's amazing. He's also
he's human.
You know, and, and if we look at a biblical example, you know, there's moments where Jesus wept as well, and nobody says Jesus was not masculine because he wept publicly. So I think that's an important caveat. I don't know where I was going. I'm lost.
And I think also biblically, I mean, if I'm not wrong, David was also a warrior king, and a king that was quick to remorse.
Yeah.
You know, he was a man who could show the human side, his emotional side, when the prophet would come and say, you've done wrong, and he rents his clothes and he tears himself up. He shows that emotional side, but at the same time, he's also the man who says, I pick up a sword and I will go chase after the enemy and bring back the people. It doesn't make him less of a man if it's either or, and it shouldn't be stuck on one extreme. I think my encouragement to men as we are and as the world evolves is, do not be straight-jacketed by what the world defines as being masculine. It is okay to you to still have those days where your tank of masculinity is not 100%. And by the way, there's also those days where you have to tone down that masculinity, because the world is live and let live, you know. And to the other side of it, we've seen the certain gentlemen who are on social media promoting this super masculine behavior, these boisterous men, and sometimes I think it's a lash out reaction to the trends of the feminization of men in our society we've seen recently around people who are a bit more feminine, and the counterbalance to that is take us to the other extreme. And as we see with everything in life in our modern day, if it is not right wing, then it has to be extreme left wing to bring it back to the middle, and vice versa and the other way around. And so we've seen men who, in the true sense of it, when the chips are down, they are not more than the name that they carry. They are not more than the shoulder that they portray, but they overtly go overboard because they are trying to compensate for the other extreme.
I think you've hit such a big nail on the head. That's where I feel our world is chaotic at the moment. It's a world of extreme opinions one way or the other. There's no room to try and find middle ground. It's just, you got to be pushing that way or pushing that way. And if you're there, they're your enemy, and vice versa. I think that's where we've got a lot wrong. And again, I think the kind of global online world that we live in doesn't help that. It fans extremes.
I agree. And I think the golden gem, the people of the future, are those who are able to find middle ground, who are able to, I think it's the business school is called the Journal Strategy, a guy who is able to consider left and consider right and still find his middle ground. And I think men, the more of those we can find, the better. But I just fear that we are too few and far between. The last element I wanted to ask your opinion about is masculinity is the other side of the coin of feminism.
Don't go there.
Well,
you already did.
I have to ask. I
don't want to get in trouble with half of the world, Joseph.
Welcome to the definition, David. What's your opinion? What role or what input does feminism in the world we live in today play in the way masculinity is exhibiting itself?
So I think I got to be careful here because my definition of feminism and my wife's definition of feminism are very different. And this is one point where we always kind of clash when we talk.
Yeah.
Maybe distancing, taking a step back from the word feminism.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to offend half the
Yeah.
world.
Yeah.
I do think that there's elements within women rising up. There's a lot of elements within women rising up over the last 20, 30, 50 years, which are extremely healthy and necessary because there was a power play in historically which wasn't healthy. And I think there was sexism. Yeah. And there still is, actually. If you sit and talk to some older men who are just really in an old way of thinking, sexism is very much alive there as well. I think younger people get it. Majority do. But I think we have to also, in the midst of all of this, we have to also recognize that, again, to put it crudely, you're the one that went there twice already. What's in between our legs is different. Like we're different. Like we are different.
Anatomically different. Yes,
we're different.
Yes,
but also in the way we think, we're different. Why are sometimes jokes around males and females funny? Because we buy into the stereotypes because they're there. In a broader way, they're there.
Yes.
So we are different, and I think a part of doing life as men and women on this earth is that we recognize each other's differences.
Absolutely.
And we celebrate them. And we're not, again, it goes two ways. We're not insecure about each other's differences.
Yeah.
But we try and celebrate what different sexes are. And that's not to say that there's room for inequality.
Yeah.
But my personal opinion is it's also important to celebrate what men and masculinity is. At the moment, it feels to me like women are shouting louder in that space. And in some ways, it can become negative where it stops men from being able to be men.
Yeah.
Am I allowed to say that? Did I cross any boundaries?
Yeah. No, you don't.
Did I answer your question?
You did, and I think it points to the fact that, as you said, the world we live in today, everything is a competition. Look, masculinity and feminism are not opposing sides of a battle. It's not two teams playing against themselves. And the more we begin to see them as uniqueness, and people just every gender needs to play to its strength to the extent to which it complements one another. I think that's the sweet spot. We do have, like in everything in life, extremists. There's extremists in politics, there are extremists in religion, there are extremists that go to the gym and want to excessively do things. There are also extremists in the world of masculinity. There are also extremists in the world of being a feminist. We don't count the extremists. They are outliers in any statistical data point you're looking at. What we should look at is the majority that brings us to the fine balance. I'm a father of two girls. I'm married to a girl that was raised by a single mom. My mother-in-law lived life as a single mom. My mom lived as a single mom. I am unapologetically a feminist, an advocate for women's rights 110%.
Yeah.
But I also do know that there's a great synergy when the masculine man does what he can do or is designed to do anatomically and can key into a feminist female who is confident in herself and is able to do as designed for her. Now, when you say as designed for her, I don't mean designed by gender. There are some women that by design, by the environment in which they've been influenced, they come across like masculine. If that's your DNA, play it to the best of your strength.
Right.
Same way, there are men who history, culture, society have designed them as less masculine as Mr. Jonah down the road. You need to know yourself, ground yourself, and play your strength as much as you can.
Right.
This whole thing about feminism going against masculinism, I think, in my opinion, is myopic. It's small-mindedness. What we need to figure out is where is the best space for each of these to play to themselves. And men who want to be masculine but requires the putting down of a female to show that he's masculine, that has missed the mark. And vice versa. A feminist who thinks that to be a true blood feminist means you take on every man in every battle has lost the mark.
Yeah.
That's just my personal opinion.
Yeah. I mean, with a conversation like this, you can't have it without knowing that we're going to offend a lot of people with our opinions. And there's going to be a lot of people out there who don't even buy into the kind of principles and ethos of what we're saying.
Yes.
And our aim with this is not to try and provoke.
No.
We want to be a voice to discuss parameters according to our outlooks, and hope that it helps to spark intrigue around the topic.
Yep.
Where it might make people think.
Yeah, and we remember when we started this podcast, we always said we don't have the answers. It's neither black or white. Success for us is defined by, that's an interesting topic for me to go dig deeper into. It's an interesting coffee table topic for me to open up with family and friends for us to talk about. All we have are opinions from our own small corner of the world, but opinions that should ignite bigger conversations. As we said, it's neither black or white, it's the definition. Many things in life is gray, many things in life require context. Our job here is to stir the pot for those contexts and your reality to be put on the table.
Correct. And so I'll end the podcast the way I should end every podcast, which is Joseph for president.
Not a chance. I'm still trying to manage my life, guys. But Dave, it's great for us to have platforms like this for men to talk about what matters to men.
100%.
It's and there is a space for this conversation. I think that there are people out there driving in their car that says, I wish men could be open to talk about these things, and glad to be doing it with you and to the audience, for everyone who tunes in. Again, we don't have all the answers. We are comfortable in upsetting some people, ruffling some feathers. If the greater good is that the conversation comes to the surface and people are able to find the right position of where they stand on topics.
Absolutely. Tune in next time.
Thank you, guys. See you next time.